So when you're looking for peace of mind, let our family help your family. Brown Funeral Home in Martinsburg, Inwood, and Charlestown, Ranson. We're here when you need us.
We have the tools, we have the talent. It's Miller time.
It's Miller time on Talk Radio WRNR. A look at local sports with the play-by-play voice of local sports, Matt Miller.
And we welcome you into Miller time on this Wednesday evening, the eve of the first potential snowstorm or at least winter weather situation of the winter season. Matt, are you prepared?
As prepared as I'm going to be. I don't know.
Have you been to the store? Have you bought loaves of bread and gallons of milk?
You do know it's going to be like 45 degrees on Friday, right?
And peanut butter and all of the...
it's all going to... I mean, you see what I bring for lunch every day. I have peanut butter.
The staples that you will need to get you through this
12 hours of tear. Yeah, I think I'll survive.
All right.
I think I'll be okay. I got a truck with a half tank of gas in it.
There you go.
I got four-wheel drive, so
okay.
When I have to come pick you up tomorrow...
All right. As long as I know I'm going to be okay. Can you bring some peanut butter and milk with you when you come?
I'm not sure I have milk, actually.
I'm not a big milk guy anyway.
No, I am a big milk guy. I just find myself not drinking it enough that by the time I buy it and use it, it's not spoiled by the end.
Aha.
So
you gotta buy the smaller containers.
Every now and again, I'll have like a half gallon, but then I'm like, why did I just spend $4 for 3 glasses of milk? So... a gallon's not bad. You pay like $4, get a gallon of milk. You get a week or so out of it if you're one person. But by the time I would get to the end of it, because I'm not a big cereal guy or a big breakfast guy to begin with. So by the time you're
not a huge sweets guy either. So what do you have your milk with? Cookies?
I mean, when I was a kid, I had milk with dinner every night.
Okay.
When I'm home, I have milk a lot of times with dinner if I'm not having a adult beverage. But, yeah, so milk was my go. I was never a big soda kid. I didn't like soda at all when I was a kid, so it was either milk, water, or the occasional tea or something. All
right, and now the important question. Maybe this should be our new Facebook poll question. We haven't had one of those in a while.
Did we ever get a final vote from our last poll question?
I have to go back and look.
We didn't. It ended last week.
Yeah, it was 6 days long, and I never even thought to go back and look at it. So we'll have to do that during one of the breaks. But my question is, and maybe this becomes the poll question, white milk, chocolate milk?
White milk. Every now and again, I will get a lot of times if I'm getting like a donut or something, I'll get a thing of Nesquik chocolate milk. But if I'm just, as a casual milk drinker, it's got to be white. And at least 2%. 1% just tastes like water.
I was going to say even 2%. I like mine whole milk.
Whole milk was my favorite when I was a kid, but I didn't get it all that often because it apparently isn't very good for you.
Really?
Apparently it's got a lot of fat and stuff in it. So
that's probably what makes it good.
Yeah, it's still. I remember the first time I had it, I went, "This is amazing. Where has this been all my life?" But yeah, it's got to be at least 2%.
All right, so we went from weather into our milk consumption. Let's go back to weather and its impacts on high school playoff football. I got text messages throughout the mid to late afternoon, you might say, from both Brian Thomas as the head coach and Steve Campbell as the athletic director up at Musselman High School to give us the word that the game on Friday with Musselman hosting Ripley has been moved to Spring Mills High School. It will still be a Friday game. It will still kick off at 7:30 Friday night, but in order to get out of the natural grass / muddy, sloppy field conditions that, number one, are already presented because of the regular season, and then last week playing in the rainstorm against John Marshall, and now the rain and snow and sleet in the forecast over the next 24 hours. They want to be able to get onto a turf field that will make the sledding a little easier, for lack of a good pun there. And so they'll play at Spring Mills High School Friday night at 7:30. Our pregame will begin at 6:30, and Miller time at 5 p.m. as we will bring you the game action, but no longer from Musselman. It will be at Spring Mills. And Matt is shrugging his shoulders and giving me that look. If you're watching on TV 10 or WRNR TV on YouTube, you can see the look in his eyes.
I think that could be an advantage for Musselman. I think having played last week in those conditions, they know what they're going to expect walking onto that grass field. They're a run-heavy team. If they can get their footing in those conditions, I mean, I guess you don't know how severe the conditions are going to be, so I guess it's better to be safe than sorry. But I don't know, if I was a player, I think I'd want to play in the mud. You're in your home environment. Not only are you on your home field, but you're in your home field with conditions that the way your team runs, you could really do some damage. I don't know. It'll be a good game regardless. Both teams like to run the ball. I just think it would have been a little bit more of a home field advantage if they would have been in Inwood, because that's already a home field advantage.
Well, you will hear tomorrow evening as we talk with Brian Thomas. Believe he brought it up in our actual interview. If not, we certainly talked about it off mic afterwards, that someone had gone through and looked at all of the playoff games coming up now in the quarterfinal round, single A, double A, triple A, and there were only 3 of the games that were going to be played on natural grass. Everybody else already had a turf field, and now this game being moved from the natural grass to the turf field.
Do you know what those other 2 were?
One of them was a single A, and then I don't remember.
Who was the team we saw? We were watching the highlights of week 12, I guess.
Week 12 top plays.
Yeah, and I forget. Was it Van?
Van and somebody,
and
but I don't know.
And I don't know who was home. I don't know if it was at Van's Field or not. But good grief, that was a mud bowl.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
That looked like mud wrestling, and then somehow a football was thrown in the middle of it because it was soupy, sloppy. The young man that took the handoff and made the spin move, the jump cut, and yet another spin move and still managed to stay on his feet, you couldn't see the number on his jersey.
Nope. Just a brown blob on the back of his jersey. Do you find it, I don't want to say concerning because it's not a concern thing, but do you find it unique that grass football fields now are really a dime a dozen?
No.
They're kind of going by the wayside?
I don't find it unusual only because most high school fields are used
for
so much.
A lot of sport, and they're used for different sports.
Now, again, talking with Coach Thomas up at Musselman, of course, their field is still across the street from the main high school. It's over by what used to be the high school, now is the middle school. And it is still predominantly football only. And they have what used to be the old baseball field that now can serve as their practice facility, so they don't have to practice on that field. They play freshman football, they play JV football and varsity football. That's it on that field. Across the street at the new high school, they have the grass soccer fields, and so it's only getting that use when it's football. But you go down to Shenandoah Junction and look at the Jefferson Cougars and look at their field that's getting used for all of those sports. Of course, they don't have freshmen, but JV and varsity football, and then add the boys and girls soccer, both JV and varsity, and then add in other sports that may use it throughout the course of the year. I think it's a lot easier for school systems, if they can afford the initial cost up front, to have that turf field that allows more activities to be done without tearing up the surface.
I'd agree with that. I don't like it. I think grass is a better playing surface. I think it gives a little bit more. While it doesn't make you nearly as fast, I think in ideal conditions, skill players obviously are going to like turf because you're fast. It's not as long as grass, doesn't slow you down as much as grass. You bounce off the rubber padding and the rubber turf beads rather than having to dig into the dirt. But as a lineman, I'm grass. I was able to do both. I split my time in high school, grass and turf. We got a turf field my junior year, and I definitely was a fan of playing on grass a lot more than I was playing on turf.
You mentioned that aspect of speed for guys like us. Didn't matter whether it was mud.
It was quick impact speed. It was a 5-yard sprint rather than a 40-yard dash.
There you go. So, again, if you're planning to attend on Friday night, please make sure you make note that the Musselman football game hosting Ripley will now be played at Spring Mills High School Friday night at 7:30. Again, our pregame coverage at 6:30, following Miller time at 5 o'clock. I'll be live at the field. Matt will be here in studio as our host for the Friday night game. And then on Saturday, we'll have the Martinsburg game beginning with a 12:30 pregame as the Bulldogs will host Parkersburg, a rematch of Martinsburg's first ever AAA state championship appearance back in 2001. And that game at 1:30 will kick off. So again, our pregame at 12:30, and we'll have some scoring updates as Capital host Hedgesville in a rematch of the 1995 state championship game.
A lot of rematches this week.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing how those games all play out as the winners will advance to the semifinals. By the way, the only quarterfinal game in AAA that doesn't involve an Eastern Panhandle team should be a pretty good one. That's Spring Valley and Huntington.
There isn't a bad game on the menu this week.
No, I don't think so.
Even you look at the biggest, I guess you can consider this the biggest differential in games, which is the 11 going to the 3 seed, and that's Hedgesville. Hedgesville were the only big upset in round one. Even that game's got intrigue to it because of Hedgesville's second half in that game, what they're able to accomplish in winning in the fashion they did. How much momentum can they take when they have to travel down to the southern part of the state and face Capital, and see what Capital does after their win last week. They had a pretty substantial win last week, so it should be interesting. All the games, even the ones that you may not think are going to be close, there's at least intrigue going into all of them.
Well, speaking of Hedgesville, let's stay on that subject when we come back. We've got to get in a break, but helping to lead the charge in that come-from-behind Hedgesville victory was a young man that hadn't played quarterback, at least hadn't started at quarterback until, well, last Saturday. We'll hear from Hunter Coe next on Miller Time.
Burke, Schultz, Harmon, and Jenkinson. We're accident, injury, and disability lawyers with over 120 years combined local trial experience. When injury or illness has stopped you from working, you may be eligible for Social Security disability. Ron Harmon has been winning disability claims for over a quarter of a century. Don't hire some out-of-state firm. Ron Harmon's in Martinsburg. He will meet with you right here in our office. Get a local lawyer you can trust. Call 304-LAWYERS for a free consultation. 304-LAWYERS or 304-263-0900.
Come to Valley Guns 2 in Inwood for Smith & Wesson handguns like the MP 2.0 9mm full-size semi-automatic and the MP 2.0 compact. Or check out the Model 60 Pro Series Smith & Wesson revolver. For the ladies, there's the Smith & Wesson 380 Shield Easy. It's easy to load, easy to shoot, and easy to carry. See the full line of Smith & Wesson handguns at Valley Guns 2, Exit 5 off I-81 Inwood, West Virginia. Online at valleyguns2.com.
And here he goes.
West Virginia football.
He's going to go all the way in. Touchdown.
Lives here.
And here we go. A home run ball deep downfield. And he makes the catch. Right up the middle he goes. He's on his way. It's a foot race. He's going to score. 15, 10-foot. End zone. Touchdown. West Virginia.
WVU matches up with Oklahoma State in Stillwater on Saturday, November 17th. Only on your home for Mountaineer football.
On Talk Radio WRNR, your local leader in talk, news, sports.
I'm Ari Wolf with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Neither the 9-1 Chiefs nor the 9-1 Rams have been stopped much on the field, but the field is stopping both teams from playing Monday night in Mexico. Conditions at the Mexico City Stadium did not meet league standards, so the NFL is moving the game to the LA Coliseum. The Rams will be giving thousands of tickets to the game to the first responders and those affected by the recent shooting and wildfires in California. Elsewhere, it's now official. Steelers All-Pro running back Le'Veon Bell will not play in 2018 after he did not report to the team by Tuesday's deadline. Also on Tuesday, the Bills released wideout Terrell Pryor, while the Patriots activated 2018 second-round pick corner Duke Dawson from IR. And Packers starters Randall Cobb, Nick Perry, Kentrell Bryce, and Kevin King all did not practice Tuesday, putting their status in question for Thursday's game against Seattle. You can watch that game live Thursday night on NFL Network starting at 6 Eastern. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
Stay tuned for more Miller Time.
Possibilities are all around us. We see potential in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action in communities all around the world. Together, we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved at Rotary.org.
You're really busy. Got it. The last thing you want to think about today is a funeral home. Got it. But a little forward thinking now can save you a lot of heartache later. It's easier than you think. We're Brown Funeral Homes, family owned, in business for over 135 years, since 1880. And we're home based, right here in the Eastern Panhandle. Think smart. Think ahead. Brown Funeral Homes, Martinsburg, Inwood, and Charlestown, Ranson. Brown Funeral Homes, we're here for you.
We welcome you back into Miller Time on this Wednesday evening.
Thought you were going to say the Hotel California.
Matt and Matt with you. I remember this song back in middle school as we were in a band competition, a talent show, and the band that competed against us in that category played that song.
What instrument did you play?
I was a bass guitarist back in the day.
Didn't we have this conversation yesterday that you were not musically inclined?
Well, and hey, the bass guitar for the few songs that I learned to play, which was all by memory because I was not good at reading music, were very simple lines. So it worked for that year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was there in middle school. And then the jet black Fender bass guitar, sharp looking Fender guitar, ended up getting a lot of rest until it was used by those who could actually use it.
So that end being the official wedding singer of WRNR.
Let's roll into some high school football talk.
Way to avoid that one.
As we look at a Hedgesville team that scored their first playoff win since 1997. Matt, I have the book in front of me. I'm holding it up right now in front of the camera. The 1997 Football Playoff Manual and Schedule book. This looks like those things that, people when I was your age pulled out from the 1940s and 30s, right? It's this old book, and
it's the things that in primo condition would go to the pawn shop and you'd get
there you go
$80 for.
It's kind of faded and so forth, and it tells us that Hedgesville that year beat Bridgeport in an 8-9 matchup 23-17, and then went on to beat Ripley, the number 16 seed, who had upset the number 1 seed Morgantown that year, 27-15 in that quarterfinal round. But then in the semifinals, the number 5 seed Parkersburg knocked off Hedgesville 42-13 as Parkersburg went to the finals, where they ultimately lost against North Marion. So it's been a while since they've had this opportunity, and we caught up with Hedgesville quarterback Hunter Coe, who's kind of been thrust into that role. You pointed out to me, I gave the little tease going into the break, Hunter Coe did see 5 plays at quarterback against Spring Mills?
It was probably
5. He threw a completion on the first one.
And then they went 4 and out.
4 and out. And then Spring Mills was able to run out the clock.
No, it was 6. He threw the completion was on the second play.
Okay.
He had an incomplete pass on his first play, so he threw 6. he was in for 6 plays at quarterback against Spring Mills, but hadn't touched the field at quarterback going into the final 2 minutes of that game.
And yet, he was the starting quarterback against Parkersburg South and ends up leading the team to the come-from-behind victory. We caught up with him and asked him about the start and the game.
It was an amazing opportunity. I knew I had a big role to step up to. I just trusted the offense and the linemen and knew that I would just stand back there and they'd give me time to throw it around and do my job.
A few butterflies?
Yeah, just a few. And in the first half, I definitely was nervous and had to knock some of the dust off. But then in the second half, I thought I came out and did what I was supposed to.
What allowed you to make that transition? You mentioned, a slow first half. Obviously, you guys come to life in that second half. What allowed you to turn it around?
Coach Fairclough gave us a good talk in the locker room, and I saw the intensity from the rest of the team whenever we came out after halftime, and I knew that it was my time to step up and that they trusted me, so I needed to trust them and just do my job and read the DBs and throw it where I was supposed to be.
When you get that first score and you kind of break the ice, did you feel like that was a moment where you could, breathe a little bit and now say, okay, let's go get him?
Oh, yeah, definitely. After that first score, I felt more accomplished, and then I knew that after that it felt easier and all the pressure was off of me, it felt like, so I just worked it down the field and it ended up working out in the end.
You guys get the game tied 21-21. Take us to that possession then where you're able to get the score to put you up after being behind 21-0.
Oh, it was wild whenever we got up there. I basically just whenever we got up 21-21 that the intensity was there and that the team was going to do everything they needed to, and I had to do my part, so we drove it down the field again, and we got that roughing the kicker penalty, and that was actually a third and out, and it allowed us to come back out on the field and gave us a big advantage there. And after that, we had that deep ball down to Malachi, and when we went up 21-28, it really just, the whole place shook, it felt like.
So they come back, though, and they take the lead. What was it like, knowing that you've got to find a way to score quickly and then to see Niger do what he did? Oh,
it was amazing. Everybody was kind of down on themselves, and I knew there was still time on the clock, and I had the weird feeling that something crazy was going to happen. And I knew our return team was definitely a deadly weapon. And whenever I saw the hole open up, I just knew he was gone, and the feeling was amazing. It was something that is indescribable.
Talk to us about the decision to play football this year. I know you're a baseball guy at heart, so to speak, and now you get this opportunity on the football field.
Yeah, a good opportunity. After playing summer ball with the travel team I was playing with all up and down the East Coast, got back in school the first day, actually, and I knew that all the free time I was going to basically have nothing to do, so I figured why not come back out and finish what I started with my friends, and it turned out to be a good experience.
What are your thoughts now as you get an opportunity to advance to the quarterfinal round and again have to travel a long distance to face a good Capital team?
Yeah, they're definitely a solid team, but we're not going to get down on ourselves. I'm just going to trust the line and continue to do my job. Now that I have the nerves out of it and I've played a game, I think we should do all right against them.
Does this game give you some confidence knowing that you can go on the road and get this win?
Oh, definitely. After that Parkersburg game, I think the whole team's confident that we can beat anybody that we put in front of us.
Hunter, thank you for your time. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And there you hear from Hunter Coe, quarterback for the Hedgesville Eagles, who helped to lead that come-from-behind victory against Parkersburg South on Saturday, and now will lead the team into a quarterfinal round matchup at Capital.
So talk about a whirlwind kind of couple months for him. Went from almost not playing football this year and then decided to come back out and play, and then he's a wide receiver for the majority of the year. And, hey, in the first round of the playoffs, why don't you help us lead a comeback in the first round and have the 6-11 upset and then take us to the quarterfinal round for the first time since 1997. That sound like a good idea to you? Sure, why not?
You got it, Coach. And in he goes and, gets the job done. Will be a tough test. This is a very good Capital team, very athletic team. We'll hear from head coach Joey Urish coming up, let's see, on Friday. We'll get a chance to hear from him heading into that Saturday game. And obviously he's concerned about the athleticism that Hedgesville will face. But, hey, Hedgesville's got some athletes of their own, and we'll see how well they can hold up. We mentioned these two teams met way back in 1995. 20-0 was the victory then for Capital in that state championship. All right, we need a break here at the bottom of the hour. Stay tuned. We've got more Miller Time coming up after this.
CBS News update. About 100 people, many of them elderly, remain missing in California's deadliest wildfire, the Camp Fire in Northern California. The search for victims in burned buildings continues. Crews found another victim in one of the hundreds of destroyed homes in Southern California. CBS's Steve Futterman is in Ahura Hills.
When search and rescue crews got to the man's home, they found it had been destroyed by the fire. Initially, though, they could not find any body in the ruins. Cadaver dogs were then brought in. They found the remains. Authorities say it is a man in his 70s.
That's Agora Hills. At least 50 people have died statewide. 9,000 firefighters continue to battle two massive wildfires. CAL FIRE Chief Ken Pimlott.
While the winds are subsiding for the most part, particularly Southern California tonight and into tomorrow morning, vegetation is critically dry. We will still have conditions that will produce new and potentially damaging fires.
CBS News update. I'm
Now, with your local forecast, weatherman Bob Kukin.
Wintry weather on the way late tonight into Thursday for Berkeley, Jefferson, Morgan counties. And winter storm watch continues. We have got periods of snow, sleet, and freezing rain expected after sunrise. Lowest temperature in the upper 20s. High tomorrow only in the lower 30s. Snow will accumulate before mixing with sleet and freezing rain, continuing on through the evening time, tapering off in time for Friday. I'm Bob Kukin, Talk Radio WRNR.
You're at a red light. Sometimes it seems like they never change. You wish you could magically turn that red light green. I'm Lori from Bechtel Jewelers. I can't help you with the street lights, but I can help you if you happen to have red lights at home. Red lights at home are even more frustrating than red lights on the street. No matter what you do or say, she gives you the red light. Is it possible to change that red light to green? I have incredible news. Unlike red lights on the street, you really can turn red lights at home into green. Put our light-changing gifts to the test. Stop in at Bechtel Jewelers. In minutes, we'll send you on your way with a little box that has a light-changing surprise for her inside. A beautiful diamond ring, earrings with her favorite gems. We'll help you pick the perfect gift. And when she sees her gift sparkling up at her, well, those red lights at home turn to green. Bechtel Jewelers, Route 11 South, Inwood. We'll help you turn red lights into green.
I'm Joe Ferretti of Ferretti Law Office. The most common question I hear from people injured in an automobile wreck or because someone else was at fault is, can their insurance company do that? If you call Ferretti Law Office at 264-8505, I will answer that question and other questions you have for free. Get educated and get ready to fight back. Call 264-8505 to protect your rights and get the compensation you deserve. Put my 31 years of personal injury and trial experience to work for you. At Ferretti Law Office, we're here to help.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
Wednesday by the Bay. I'm Jeff Biggs, and with a big rift right now between Kevin Durant and Draymond Green, the Warriors are actually going to get together today to travel to Houston. No practice or no media availability, but KD and Draymond will be on the plane together. On the court tonight, Jimmy Butler is set to make his Sixers debut in Orlando. The Celtics, who are now 7-6, are back home to host the Bulls, and the Raptors will try to bounce back from their second loss as they play the Pistons. In the NHL today, a trade with the Pens sending Carl Hagelin to the LA Kings in exchange for Tanner Pearson. On the ice tonight, another doubleheader on NBCSN. First up, the Blackhawks will play the Blues, followed by the Vegas Golden Knights hosting the Ducks. And in baseball, the Cy Young Awards will be handed out tonight. I'm Jeff Biggs, NBC Sports Radio.
Fire off this season with Sunfire Energy Solutions. When it comes to gas, wood, and pellet fireplaces, stoves, and inserts, we've got it all. Quadrifire, Harmon, Heat and Glow, Vermont Castings, and much more. Come by and see the 3,000 square foot showroom located in downtown Martinsburg with hundreds of outdoor amenities to choose from. Are you already dreading the expected heating bill increases? We can help. Sunfire Energy Solutions is your total energy experts. Find out more on Facebook and sunfireenergysolutions.com or stop by the showroom today.
It's the Class AAA High School Football Playoffs. It's a quarterfinal matchup as the number 9 seeded Parkersburg Big Reds visit the defending champion number 1 Martinsburg Bulldogs.
To the tailback, Dwayne Grantham, and off the left side of the line, he'll follow those blockers into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown.
It's live coverage from Coburn Field. Kickoff at 1:30. Pregame at 12:30. Catch the play-by-play with Matt Miller and Vic Holmes on Talk Radio WRNR and TV10, your local leader in talk, news, sports.
And we welcome you back into Miller Time on this Wednesday evening, along with Matt Crawford. I'm Matt Miller. Glad to have you with us. Hey, we're on the air till 6:45 as we take you right up to the pregame for Washington Wizards basketball as they entertain the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll wrap up this particular hour talking a little NBA and Washington Wizards. Interesting article that's come out within the last couple of days regarding some of the dissension that might be there on this team and, you know, the possibilities of seeing this team split up. More on that in just a little bit.
Did you hear about Draymond Green getting suspended?
I did. By the team, not by the league. It was a decision of the, I'm sure, coaching staff and maybe right up through the complete organization, as he was not real friendly to a key player in
referencing a female dog or something.
Yeah, in reference to Kevin Durant.
Yes.
And as you just heard, they'll now be on a plane together. Look, I don't put a whole lot into it, you know. And now maybe those two guys don't care for each other, and I don't, you know, Green is certainly very volatile. He's that type of player, and it kind of comes with the territory. But they'll get over it and play basketball and win more championships.
Or they'll be like the Wizards and just implode from the inside out.
All right, we'll save that for later. We got to hit the music because it's our regular segment at this time of the day. It's not yesterday, not today, but tomorrow's date in sports history as we take everyone to November the 15th. Today being the 14th, we'll go to tomorrow the 15th.
Good math.
Thank you. Let's go to the 6th Iron Bowl on tomorrow's date in 1901. Auburn beats Alabama 17-0 in Tuscaloosa. Wonder what that game might have been like back then.
I'm guessing they ran the ball an awful lot.
I'm figuring. 1946, Ted Williams picked as the American League MVP. I'm sure a good selection. 1960, Elgin Baylor of the NBA's LA Lakers scores 71 in a victory against the New York Knicks.
Not too bad. Not quite Wilt's 100, but
hey, 71
is not too shabby.
Pretty good. Let's go 1961. Roger Maris voted as the American League MVP. And in 1967, Boston's Carl Yastrzemski wins that very award as the American League MVP. What the heck? Let's stay on that track. 1978, Pirates outfielder Dave Parker wins the NL MVP award. Seeing if there's any more awards like that as I quickly roll through as we get
Apparently
into...
the 15th of November is a hot date for giving out awards in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
When's the MVP announced? When is because I know the Gold Gloves have been announced. When do they announce? I think the Silver Sluggers are still left, and the MVPs are still left.
I've got to admit, for being a guy that enjoys the game of baseball a lot, I really haven't paid much attention to the postseason.
You've been getting ready for basketball, right?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, round it out.
All right, well, let's round it out with this same date 1 year ago, 2017. You may recall this incident. 3 UCLA basketball players suspended after admitting shoplifting in China.
Was that a year ago already?
Yes. Are you kidding? It seems longer than that because really, I mean, we had heard of LeVar Ball before, but I mean, he was a real pain in the you-know-what from that point on, especially when the release came only at President Trump's request. And, you know, haven't heard as much of the big baller brand and all of that stuff recently.
I heard it was either LiAngelo or LaMelo is back in the United States. So he's not playing overseas anymore. I saw that on the ESPN ticker watching college football over the weekend.
Well, and now we just have to wait and see what that is going to mean for those guys.
Do you care what it means?
Will they get their NBA shot or not?
Well, they were putting up 148 a game between the two of them overseas because they would take 82 shots a game.
Hey, Tommy tells me Cy Young tonight, MVP tomorrow. Tommy, Thank you. Loyal listener, keeping us up on what's happening in baseball. So Cy Young's tonight. Yeah, I heard that earlier because obviously the thought is that Jacob deGrom is going to get it over Max Scherzer. Of course, it would be 3 straight for Scherzer.
Scherzer's had a good run. While it would suck coming in second when you're that close to a third, I'm not sure that he'd be too upset coming in second this year. deGrom had one heck of a season on a team that really, quite frankly, wasn't good.
Well, and that's the thing. I heard him say this morning, if deGrom does win it, he would become the first Cy Young winner to have only 10 wins in a season.
Well, that's why wins and losses, when you look at pitching, doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but it's not as important as ERA, Ks through 9 innings, walks through 9 innings, those sort of stats.
Yeah, batting averages against and all of those kind of things. All right, before we leave this topic and head into a break, we've got to look back at a sad note that is actually from this date in sports history. And, Matt, you were watching the movie that kind of sparked you to remember this very day, within the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago I was watching We Are Marshall, the movie about the tale of the plane crash and the rebuilding of the Marshall Thundering Herd. And I was watching the beginning of the movie and rewound it a little bit, and because I was going back to when that game was. At the beginning of the movie, it tells you what date it was and who they were playing. And I saw that it was the 14th. So I put in my phone, hey, let's talk about some Miller time, Wednesday the 14th, and it's the 48th anniversary of the Marshall plane crash. So I put a note in my phone, and at about 12 o'clock today, good thing I put the note in my phone because it popped up, and I went, hey, Matt, we got to talk about tonight. And then you mentioned that it wouldn't be the first time that this event was talked about in depth on this radio station.
Well, that movie came out in 2006. And at that time, Tom Tucker was doing our morning programming with Eastern Panhandle Talk, and they were able to make some arrangements and, had the quarterback who took over the program then in 1971, Reggie Oliver. He was on the air. They also had in studio someone who was local who had been at Marshall during that time, not a member of the football team, but a member of the student body, and they addressed things from that perspective as well. It was very interesting. A really good show. It might be something at some point we'll have to pull back out and maybe play back. Maybe something we can look at here in the future, maybe even as we get closer to that 50th anniversary. But what we do want to play for you, this was the actual Mutual News report that came out on this date in 1970.
Another air tragedy involving a football team, and there may be no survivors. This is Bill Maher, Mutual News, New York. Incredibly, there has been another football team plane crash, this one tonight in moderate rain and fog in West Virginia. Here's the story just in from Al Shea, Mutual Station WLOG, Logan, West Virginia.
The Federal Aviation Agency reports a Southern Airways chartered airliner has crashed at Canova, West Virginia. It reportedly was carrying the Marshall University football team, its coaching staff, and several citizens. Only reports did not indicate the condition of those aboard. University spokesman said the plane at DC-9 was carrying 37 football players. An AAA spokesman says the plane went down 2 miles west of the airport at Canova in moderate rain and fog. The football team was returning from Greenville, North Carolina, where it lost the 17-14 decision to East Carolina this afternoon. The FAA spokesman said the control tower at the airport lost contact with the plane at about 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, about 15 minutes after it was due to land.
And this just in, state police said there are, quote, apparently no survivors among the reported 68 passengers aboard and an undetermined number of crew. A Canova Fire Department official said after the plane hit, it seemed to explode. Once again, this late story just in. State police at Canova, West Virginia now say there are apparently no survivors in the crash of that airplane tonight carrying the Marshall University football team.
That again was the Mutual News report from this date, November 14th, 1970. In all, 75 people perished in that plane crash, 37 players and 9 coaches from the Marshall football team.
I'm guessing you were too young to remember that, right?
I was about 3.5. I was born in May of 1967, so only about 3.5 years old at that time. And, yeah, being that young, I really don't remember this event at all.
And you and I had to do some research because at the beginning, the newscast started with the reporter talking about yet another football plane crash. And you and I looked at each other and had the same reaction. Was there another major plane crash that neither you or I knew about? And in fact, just a little over a month before, there was one that neither you or I had heard about before.
Yeah, that was October the 2nd of 1970. It involved the Wichita State football team. And according to what we found online, they actually had 2 separate planes that were flying portions of the team to Utah State and a game that would be played there. One of the 2 planes, a smaller plane, ended up taking a different route, apparently. According to the article we read, one plane went the standard route and made it safely. This other plane went a different route and did not make it. And 14 players and 1 coach were among 31 people that died in that plane crash. So you're talking October the 2nd to November the 14th, and 2 crashes that involved 2 football teams. I can only imagine how hard it would be to be on a team plane, you know, anytime shortly after that and wondering, what was going on.
Yeah, and it's funny, I mean, there wasn't a movie obviously made by Wichita State, but it's just kind of looking at the list. We Googled it, and there's been so many athlete planes or sport team planes that have crashed that you know nothing about. So it was interesting not only to read a little bit more about the Marshall plane crash and learn about the Wichita State plane crash, but interesting to read just how many planes have gone down with sports teams aboard.
Yep. So we take a moment and reflect on that and remember that fateful day, this day, November 14th, 1970. We do need to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little Washington Wizards basketball as we'll be heading into a Wizards matchup with the Cleveland Cavaliers at 6:45 tonight. Stay with us. Matt with you as we have Miller time until that pregame show. More coming next.
Shop Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram today and find over 150 new and used vehicles to choose from. From gas savers to SUVs to four-wheel drive trucks, all of the new and most of the pre-owned vehicles come standard with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Now you can drive away with peace of mind knowing your vehicles are covered for life. And the best part about it, there are no service requirements with Miller's, and it's all included to you at no extra cost. That's right, no extra charge, and you're not required to service with us. Just follow the manufacturer's recommendations, and you're covered for life. With great quality vehicles and a great price, you can't miss with Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Our courteous, experienced, and professional staff is waiting to assist you with finding the perfect vehicle that fits all of your needs. Unbeatable deals and excellent financing is right down the road. Stop in today. Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Route 9 and Kelly Island Road, just east of Martinsburg, or online at MillerChryslerJeep.com. Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
The future doesn't wait. Why should you? Blue Ridge Community and Technical College offers over 50 degree and certificate programs in education, IT, culinary arts, engineering, and so much more. Small class sizes, flexible schedules with evening and online classes, with affordable tuition, plus financial aid is available to those who qualify. Now you can go to college. Visit us online at blueridgectc.edu. That's blueridgectc.edu. Stop waiting and enroll today.
W. Harley Miller Systems provides custom integration services such as home or office automation, audio-video distribution, home theater, networking, and much more. With a Control4 system, you can consolidate into a single and simple solution, eliminating the need for a table full of remotes or dozens of apps on your cell phone. Want to check on the house from work? Want to listen to your favorite music while cooking dinner? Want to enjoy your favorite movie in your own home theater? Contact W. Harley Miller to make your dreams come true. Phone 304-350-1931 or visit WHMSystems.com.
Talk Radio WRNR, in partnership with Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies, is proud to announce a new way of celebrating the best things in your life with your life announcements. But we need your help. When good things happen to you, we want to hear about it and let others in on it as well. Send us your birthdays and newborn birth announcements, engagements, weddings, wedding anniversaries. We want to hear about your family, your business, your church, or your organization's best moments and accomplishments. Welcome your new neighbors or pat your favorite teacher or coach on the back. Send us your attaboys and your attagirls. To send us your life announcements, email them to us at promo@talkradiowrnr.com or mail them to Talk Radio WRNR, P.O. Box 709, Martinsburg 25402, or go to www.talkradiowrnr.com for more details. Include as much information as you can, who's extending the wishes, and a way to contact you. We'll broadcast these announcements 3 times per day. It's your life announcements from Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies and Talk Radio WRNR.
Yeah, we are back on Miller Time on this Wednesday evening. We got about 8 minutes in this segment before we will hit news and weather at the top of the hour. Then we'll be back on the other side with another 45 minutes or so of Miller Time leading up to the Washington Wizards as they entertain the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right. Tommy texted it earlier. He texted me the other night as the Wizards were in the midst of getting their second consecutive win, and Tommy is telling me, see, you had it wrong. The Wizards are going to be okay.
After 2 wins against, was it Miami and Orlando? After they had just lost to Orlando a couple nights before?
So you're not on the bandwagon
I'm not quite
yet.
ready to jump on the... Was it nice for them to get back-to-back wins after the abysmal way they started the season? Yes. Very nice. 4 wins is a lot better than 2. Am I ready to jump back on the bandwagon yet for what, 4-9 team? No, not quite.
Now, have you seen the article? This one is actually dated November the 11th from Bleacher Report. So we're talking, 3 days ago that this particular article came out. Of course, the Minnesota Timberwolves had a disgruntled player in Jimmy Butler. All right, disgruntled may not be the appropriate terminology, but I don't know what worse you could get. Clearly, he didn't want to be there.
I think that was pretty clear, yeah.
He made that known.
Yeah.
So
no secret.
Ultimately, they end up with an offer that sends him to the Philadelphia 76ers. I heard earlier in the NBC Sports report he'll make his debut tonight. So apparently he wants to be there because he's playing.
He's trusting the process.
We'll see. But this article on Bleacher Report points out that Adrian, Wojciechowski?
Yes.
Of ESPN.com was reporting that the T-Wolves actually approached the Washington Wizards and wanted to make a trade for Bradley Beal.
That would have been awful.
The Wizards said, no, thank you.
It's the smartest thing the Wizards front office has done in a while. Can you imagine that head case mixed in with John Wall in the locker room? There's already not enough room in that locker room for the egos they have. So Jimmy Butler in that mix. And quite frankly, I think if at the end of this season or throughout this season they decide that they're not necessarily going to rebuild, but they need to readjust the players they have because that group's not working well together. If I'm picking one player or choosing one player to leave to maybe fix the chemistry a little bit, Bradley Beal's not it. I think if I'm doing that, I'm probably looking to move John Wall. I get he's the guy that started this revamped Wizards team. He was the first draft pick when they started to – he was the guy they were going to build the franchise around. But I think he's been around long enough that you've seen the product that you've gotten, and it hasn't gotten you anywhere.
No.
It's been several back-to-back seasons that you have severely underachieved, and, I mean, especially looking at last year. But I think if I'm parting ways with one player, I think it would be John Wall.
Well, and the report from Bleacher Report also added that the Wizards apparently seem to test the interest of the T-Wolves in John Wall and or Otto Porter because of his very large contract and the numbers that he is producing for that large contract, which, of course, the article pointed out, it's going to be nearly impossible for the Wizards to make any type of a move that would get rid of either Otto Porter or John Wall because of the finances of both of their contracts and where John Wall is in his career and what that may bring. So if Tommy just texted me, give us a call, Tommy. We got a couple of minutes. We can get your thoughts on it. 304-263-6540, 304-263-6540. But I just thought it was interesting. And the article obviously pointed out that there is dissension in that Wizards locker room. And we saw that last year clearly with Marcin Gortat still in that locker room. And I'm sure right now he's out in L.A. going, glad I'm out of there.
Well, yeah, they paid John Wall. The finances on the John Wall end, at least, you've paid John Wall to be your team. You've paid him to be that leader, to be the guy that you're going to depend on night in and night out. And quite frankly, I don't think he's got that leadership role. And I think that's a big part of what they were going to give him that money for. And I don't know. And again, I'm sure there'll be Wizards fans who disagree with me. Tommy might even disagree with me. But if I'm going to get rid of one person, I think it is John Wall.
All right, let's hear. I believe Tommy is on the line with us right now. How you doing?
I'm good.
Are you getting rid of John Wall, or are you keeping him?
Now I know this is radio, so I got to watch what I say. There is no chance I'm getting rid of John Wall.
No chance that you would?
You take him off this team. This team is the worst team in the league.
It's fighting for it right now, though, with him.
You want to get rid of somebody. You get rid of the highest paid player that played on Monday, Crawford, 22 minutes, 4 shots, and didn't even play at crunch time. Get rid of Otto Porter.
But that's part of the issue that this article pointed out. You're not going to get rid of him because they gave him such a huge contract. I wondered about the money they gave him when they gave it to him, and had he put up the numbers that would tell you that he was about to be the number 3 guy. I mean, you paid him, John Wall, and Bradley Beal to be your big 3, and it hasn't worked out.
The GM's got to go.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest. So you can talk personnel all you want, but I think you need somebody better at the top.
And I tell you another thing. I'm sure Crawford's going to laugh. I'm watching on TV, so I'll catch him laughing. But the owner, he's got to start showing more interest like he does to the Capitals.
I'm not going to disagree with you at all right there. I think that Ted Leonsis has had a winner in the Capitals, and he's kind of pushed the Wizards to the back burner. I completely agree with that.
He cares more about the Capitals than he does. I think he cares more about that Arena League team that he's got than he does the Capitals or the Wizards.
Why would that be, though? We've got 1 minute. Why would he not?
I don't know. Maybe he's not really a basketball guy. He's more hockey because he's from what? Isn't he like Russia or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure where he's actually from, but nonetheless, when you look at the popularity of sports, NFL, baseball, then basketball, hockey's in at least that 4th spot. So if you're not going to care about this team, get rid of it. Sell the team to someone who is going to have more of a vested interest.
I still want Mark Jackson as head coach.
Well, again, and let's see how long this winning streak lasts for the Wizards. Can they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, who, by the way, are the worst team in the East right now, right?
They don't beat the Cavs, and maybe they should blow this team up.
Well, there you go. Tommy, hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for calling in as well. We got to get in our break at the top of the hour. You're listening to Miller Time on Talk Radio WRNR Martinsburg.
CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by TheraWorks Relief.
I'm Pam Coulter. At least 50 people have died in California's wildfires, and the grim task of searching for victims continues. KCBS's Holly Kwan says about 100 people remain missing in Northern California's Camp Fire.
It's not like an archaeological dig where you're sifting through the ash. You've got to be logical, methodical, trying to figure out where someone may have been. Search team leader Andrew Radivere.
We look in places, bathrooms, bathtubs, bedrooms, beds, driveways, cars, things where we would likely find people who were trying to shelter in place or flee.
Eyes up, please. He calls for an assigned forensic anthropologist at the discovery of something that turned out to be an animal. Something to the untrained eye looks like random debris. Holly Kwan for CBS News, Paradise, California.
The election over, congressional Republicans and Democrats are choosing their respective leaders. Kevin McCarthy will be minority leader in the new Democrat-controlled House.
I'm very humbled to have the privilege to be able to serve and lead this conference.
Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi says she's confident she'll get the speaker's gavel again. CBS's Ed O'Keefe.
There are reports that the former Vice President Al Gore, the former Secretary of State John Kerry, and the governors of New York and Pennsylvania are also making calls on her behalf to skeptical members. Essentially, she's pulling out every last thing she can to make sure that she prevails.
It's going to be a very messy day in parts of the Northeast tomorrow. CBS's David Parkinson says it will be hit by a wintry mix.
There's a lot of snow in the mountains of Vermont and New Hampshire, but even all the way up into the Boston metro and the New York metro area, you're looking at a lot of mixing. So it may start as snow, then go over to mix, then go over to rain, then back to snow.
Britain's a step closer to leaving the European Union now that Prime Minister Theresa May has won cabinet support for a draft Brexit deal. CBS's Vicky Barker.
They haven't had time to read the 500-page draft document, but pro-Brexit conservatives are already complaining that it leaves Britain beholden to EU law without any rights. And the Northern Ireland Protestants, on whom Theresa May depends, are vowing to block an agreement which seems to class their province with EU member Ireland, with whom they share a land border.
He played the same lucky numbers for 20 years, and it paid off for retired federal worker Robert Bailey, one of two winners of the Powerball jackpot.
When I seen the 8 and the 12, I was in shock. Whoa, I looked, and I just kept going across.
The New York City man is going for the lump sum payout of more than $125 million after taxes. The Dow fell 206 points today, while NASDAQ was off 64. This is CBS News.
To experience relief from muscle cramps in your legs and feet, use TheraWorks Relief Fast-Acting Foam. Get TheraWorks Relief today in the pain relief aisle at your local pharmacy or TheraWorksRelief.com.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt?
I owe the IRS $37,000.
Get ready for a toll-free hotline. Take advantage of new IRS tax forgiveness programs that may protect you from IRS collection agencies. They have the power to garnish your wages, put liens on your property, and levy your bank account. Civic Tax Relief can help protect you from the IRS.
Civic Tax Relief basically represented me against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, I didn't owe the IRS anything.
Find out about the Fresh Start program that is now available through Civic Tax Relief. Civic Tax Relief's special tax hotline can help you discover all the relief programs available for free.
I would recommend anyone who has a tax problem to contact Civic Tax Relief.
Just call 800-601-7780. 800-601-7780. Don't wait. Call now. 800-601-7780. 800-601-7780.
Now your local news from Talk Radio WRNR. A former high school resource officer has been punished for trying to sexually lure a student on social media. Nearly 2 years ago, Thomas Carroll allegedly sent the teenager at Musselman High in Inwood an explicit image. Yesterday, he pleaded no contest to contributing to the delinquency of a minor. From here, Carroll will go on the sex offender registry. He got credit for the time he's already served, both in jail and on home confinement. Attorney General Patrick Morrisey announced a representative from his office will meet one-on-one with Eastern Panhandle residents to discuss consumer-related issues and answer any questions. Kenneth Petrie will be hosting the events. The mobile office will be in Ranson at the Anna Mae Reedy Senior Center today from noon until 1. According to the AAA East Central gas price report, northern West Virginia's gas prices fell 6 cents this week to $2.69 per gallon. Martinsburg's gasoline prices, meanwhile, averaged about $2.78. I'm Adam Boardman, Talk Radio WRNR News.
Now, with your local forecast, weatherman Bob Kukin.
Cloud cover setting up overnight tonight with temperature lows back to about 29 degrees. Snow, sleet, and freezing rain developing for the day Thursday. Looks like 2 or 3 inches of snow and some sleet and freezing rain on top throughout the day. Highest temperature close to 30 degrees. More mixed precipitation ending late tomorrow night. Low temperature back down to about 30. Partly sunny and warmer Friday. I'm Bob Kukin, Talk Radio WRNR.
Good afternoon. We have on the MARC Trains Brunswick line on-time service at this hour. Train 875 has left Washington's Union Station. It's headed up to Harper's Ferry for a 6:05 arrival. Then Duffield's at 6:18 and Martinsburg at 6:39. Train 879 is the next one to leave Union Station, heading out at 5:40. DC Metro Rail is on schedule and MTA commuter buses are looking good. For the MTA Transit Team, I'm Ken Berger with your commuter rail update on Talk Radio WRNR.
I'm an official sounding scientist, and I'm here for a comfort experiment. We're going to recreate the way your home heating system works in your car. Crank up your heat. Blast it at your face. Starting to break a sweat? This is central heating. A Mitsubishi Electric Zone comfort solution with hyperheating allows you to get just the right amount of heat exactly where you need it. Fast. No cold drafts. It's comfort made personal. This concludes our little comfort experiment.
Take advantage of Mitsubishi Electric's 36-month 0% financing on qualifying systems at McCray Heating and Cooling. Celebrating 80 years in business with free estimates available online at McCrayway.com.
We have the tools, we have the talent. It's Miller time.
It's Miller time on Talk Radio WRNR. A look at local sports with the play-by-play voice of local sports, Matt Miller.
And we welcome you back into Miller Time with you until 6:45 this evening. Then it's off to the pregame for the Washington Wizards, entertaining the Cleveland Cavaliers. Game doesn't quite have the feel that it did when LeBron James was in Cleveland, right?
The gusto.
Yeah.
No. It doesn't have that feel with LeBron in Cleveland, and it doesn't have the feel that it did when LeBron was in Cleveland and he was facing a high-powered John Wall and Bradley Beal-led team when they were firing on all cylinders, which hasn't been much. But there's been occasions where they've had some good battles, but no, this isn't the Cavalier-Wizard matchup you've had for the last several years.
You've been in locker rooms throughout your life as a player.
I have.
Isn't there a way to be able to put those differences aside? You know, like you hear, okay, the Wizards are struggling in the locker room, you know, that there's dissension on this team. Guys, we don't have to like each other off the floor. But on the floor, we got a job to do. Let's get out there and get our job done. Why can't this team find a way to do that? Or does it stem from what's going on the floor? Because you know what Marcin Gortat said last year. He was getting the ball more without John Wall. Is Wall too much about Wall?
I think that the locker room issue, or so-called locker room issues, because it's never been reported there's locker room issues, but I think the level you're at, I think there's certain players that whose egos don't allow them to differentiate between when they step on the court and any issues they're having off the court or off the field or off the diamond. And I think that's what you're seeing in D.C. right now. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I think it's certain. And maybe it was, I never had this kind of issue in any locker room I was in. I was never part of a basketball locker room, but in football or baseball, I was never a part of anything like that where you can't differentiate between, okay, we're having issues off the field, but we have to figure out how to make it work on the field. There was never any of those issues in any locker room I was in. And I know in a lot of instances that you hear about being down at Shepherd, being around that Shepherd program. I mean, when you have a team, when you have more than one person You're never going to agree on anything or on everything. That's just never going to happen. But I think good teams find a way to work past certain things you may be dealing with off the court and remember that, hey, we're playing for a team on the court, and this is what we do. So we got to suck it up in a basketball game. You got to suck it up for 48 minutes. Or a football game, you got to suck it up for 60 minutes or 9 innings, and you got to move on.
We started by talking about Draymond Green and what's going on with he and Kevin Durant and the team.
Well, that was just a dumb move on his part. You don't bring that onto the court.
But that's the point. They can have that issue on the court, and yet that team still has the ability to,
that team has that ability because they're loaded all the way up and down the bench. They can afford to have two players arguing with one another, or really just one being mad at another one. Because I think KD plays better when he's mad.
Maybe that's what Green's looking at and saying, I'm going to fire this guy out.
And that team is loaded. If they have one player that isn't firing on all cylinders one night, it's okay. They're still going to be the best team in the NBA.
All right, let's turn our attention to some college basketball. We had a chance last night to be in Shepherdstown as the Rams men's team took on Virginia Union. What were your initial thoughts watching this Rams team for the first time this year?
They were deep. I thought they were very deep. I thought they moved the ball better than any Shepherd Ram team I had seen in the last 5 years. I thought just the selflessness, the exact opposite of what the Wizards are going through right now. I thought it looked a lot like they wanted to have high assist numbers. They wanted to spread the ball around. And the youth that was coming off the bench and the productivity they were getting from their bench players, I thought they looked extremely good for how tough their early season schedule was. And I think this could be, which we talked to a couple people last night, this could be one of the better teams that Justin Namlick has had in his now 11th year at Shepherd.
Yeah, I'm with you. I certainly like the way they shared the basketball. They moved it around very well. A couple of times, I think, even a little too unselfish.
Much,
yep. Yeah. Take that shot. You were open as opposed to maybe trying to feed the other player. Well, you got a chance to catch up with Coach Namlick after the game and get his thoughts on the victory and even that depth.
In the second half there, we opened the game up. It wasn't really like we were outplaying them. They had some turnovers, live ball turnovers. We were able to get some easy baskets in transition. So I think when the lead ballooned up there to like 17 or 19, could have been like, it wasn't really accurate, and Virginia Union's got a lot of pride. They're not going to go anywhere. They started pressuring us a little bit more, and we might have let up a little bit there. But I was just really happy with how we finished the game, even when they were coming back at us. And this team's got some composure. They didn't get rattled, and they just stayed this course. And I was really proud of them for that.
One thing that you all struggled with a little bit in this game, it looked like, was rebounding. What did you see down low?
We told them coming into the game, like, we have to rebound. Sometimes their best offense is throw it up and then go get it. To hold them to, they had 14 offensive rebounds. I think at the half, they might have had 6 or 7, and so I thought at halftime I told them it was too many. But, that's what they do, but we got the ones that we need the most.
Your goal at the beginning of the season was to start as hot as you could in what you called a very, very tough opening part of your season. 3-0, how does that feel?
It feels good. You asked me a week ago, I don't know if I would have said it would be 3-0, just having to play, Millersville, who's a young team who's gotten better, Gannon, and then Virginia Union. Gannon and Virginia Union are two of the top teams in the region here the last couple years. So for us to be 3-0 is great. It was so important for us to defend our home court early on, just because we had this home stretch, having, now with State and Charleston coming in this weekend, we got to defend our home court because like in, February, we're going to be down at their place. We're going to be on the road a little bit. So this home stretch was so key to get off to a good start. And what made it so tough is we have guys, I told you at the beginning of the year, we have guys that are stepping up into new roles. And so we're kind of learning on the fly against good teams. And, so far we're making some progress. I'm hoping Devin Smith and Malik Sanders can kind of take a step forward with their production for us. And we just got to keep plugging away.
It looked like in this game and throughout the season so far, you have a deep bench that you can rely on. Is that nice to have this year?
I don't know if our bench is not where it needs to be, and that's kind of going back to what I said. I mean, it's nice. I think our 2 freshmen have played well off the bench. John Preston and Emmanuel Aguirre have played great off the bench. I'm really looking for like Kyle Daggett and Cam Stevens. We try to get some production from them off the bench, and so that's going to be a constant thing as we move forward here is like trying to get those guys because they're stepping up in the new roles, and to be able to have that production off the bench.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the win. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
Well, there you go, Justin Amalik and our own Matt Crawford catching up with him after the win yesterday. By the way, Thomas Lang, 23 points to lead the way, and that included 5 of the team's 11 three-pointers, 16 for Winston Burgess and 14 for Derek McKnight. 3 Rams going in double figures.
And I know you're surprised, but Winston Burgess did have a thunderous slam.
A couple of those, if I recall correctly.
He hardly ever does that, right?
78-68, the 10-point victory for Shepherd as they improved to 3-0.
The one thing I will say about this Shepherd team is while the bench, which according to Coach Amalik is where it needs to be, but I think definitely taking strides in the right direction from the last couple years, the one thing I noticed about this team, and you and I talked about it throughout the night, they did not play very well on the boards. They struggled rebounding the ball, especially on the defensive end, a lot, and gave up some key offensive rebounds that allowed Virginia Union to break what was a 13-point game and to get it down to, 5 at one point?
Yeah, late in the game, they started to make it interesting, but Shepherd was able to make plays in the end to be able to get the victory. Next up for the Rams men's team, it'll be this Saturday as they will welcome West Virginia State to town. That'll be a 4 o'clock tip for the men, 2 o'clock for the women. And then on Monday, 5:30 tip time for the women, 7:30 for the men as the University of Charleston comes to town.
You want to go to that one?
Let's do it.
You want to call it?
Let's do it.
You want to call it on TV 10?
That is the game plan.
All right.
There it is. Yeah, we are efforting to bring you some Shepherd Rams men's and women's basketball on TV 10. It would also then be connected through the Rams website at shepherdrams.com, as well as the Mountain East site, mountaineast.org, and also through our WRNR TV YouTube page. Our first opportunity will be on Monday as we look to bring you that doubleheader. So get ready for some college basketball on TV 10. By the way, the women's team is playing as we speak. All right, they just stepped off the floor. It's halftime down at the Butcher Center. It was a 5:30 start time against Cal PA. Ouch. Not going well for the Shepherd Ram women. They fell behind 23-11 after the opening quarter, and at the half now trail 44-26 as they were outscored 21-15 in that second quarter. The Rams women's team had gotten off to a 2-0 start, so feeling pretty good heading into this one, but a tough first half. We'll see if the Rams women's team can bounce back in the second half. We'll give you some more scoring updates as we get that opportunity as we continue on the program here. Right now, we need to take a break. Where we go next, we'll find out. Stay with us, and you'll know as well when we return with more Miller Time.
Four new car dealerships and 4 used car dealerships in 3 states. Parsons is the largest used car and fastest growing new car dealer in the tri-state area. Take Parsons Ford with huge savings on hundreds of new Fords, financing from 0%. Parsons' goal of financing for all. And Parsons' famous above market trade-in allowances that help make Parsons #1 for used cars too. See why so many won't buy anywhere but Parsons Ford in Martinsburg. We became #1 by making you #1 first. Parsons.
Let's see. Load the clothes in the washing machine. Add detergent. Turn on the washer. Wait, where's all this water coming from? Oh, no!
Disasters happen. Fire, water, and natural disasters. Tell your insurance provider you prefer Blue Ridge Property Restore. Blue Ridge Property Restore, getting you back from disaster faster.
She's gonna kill me.
A relationship that began in Stillwater continues to pay dividends in Morgantown. Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Caridi. That story coming up on today's Mountaineer Report, brought to us by Kroger.
When you order your groceries online at Kroger.com or with the Kroger app, you can do your shopping anytime, anywhere, like the gym, the office, or your favorite comfy couch. Plus, when you visit Kroger.com, you can find hundreds of money-saving digital coupons. And whether you place your order on your phone, tablet, or computer, it's still your neighborhood Kroger. So you'll find all the fresh choices, low prices, and great deals you love. And once you've selected your coupons and finished your shopping, you choose a pickup time that fits your schedule. And relax while your order is hand-picked, just the way you like it. Then all you have to do is hop in the car and drive to the store's pickup location. And a friendly Kroger associate will load your specially picked order for you. You don't even have to get out of your vehicle. It's so convenient. Save time. Shop online today at Kroger.com.
No one could ever accuse Dana Holgorsen of being stuck in his ways when it comes to offense. If he sees something that he likes, he'll adapt. Year number 1 in Morgantown, he had no use for a tight end. Year number 8, he uses a tight end early and often. Why and how did that happen? Well, one reason was the 1 year that he stayed at Oklahoma State as the offensive coordinator, and he met up with current WVU offensive line coach Joe Wickline. While in Stillwater together, Wickline taught Holgorsen just how important a tight end, and for that matter, a fullback, can be.
It's where a lot of the tight end fullback stuff has came from. When I went to Houston, we ran the ball a good bit. We had 1,000-yard rushers, and I loved a lot of the motion tempo stuff that we did. With Joe and my year at Oklahoma State, it's been very well documented, and we've even took it to a whole nother level here. It's just the tight end extra gap, fullback extra gap, stuff that has been very beneficial. And you get a guy like Trevon Wesco involved. He's been a huge part of our success this year, just with being able to attach as a tight end, move around, play a couple of them. It's old school pro-style offense. That's been good for us. And Joe understands that with the amount of football that's in that huge noggin of his. He understands the different gaps, so it's been a good marriage, and I think all of our experience together has been good.
Mountaineer head coach Dana Holgorsen, and with that offense, West Virginia currently averaging 41 points per game. That is today's Mountaineer Report, brought to us by Kroger, the official online grocer of WVU Athletics.
Stay tuned for more Miller Time.
If you're a hard-working man or woman, you want to get the best selection and value that you possibly can.
Hardworking folks know Appalachian Heating and Air Conditioning is the best way to get the service you need if you have a heating or cooling problem. They'll beat any written price. Offer 24-hour service with free estimates and affordable financing. 24 hours a day, call Appalachian Heating and Air Conditioning, where quality meets comfort, at 304-260-5644.
A DUI arrest can have a devastating impact on one's life, your job, your driver's license, and in some cases, your very freedom. My name is Harley Wagner. I own and operate West Virginia's only exclusive DUI defense firm. Since 1999, I've been representing citizens throughout the Eastern Panhandle and state of West Virginia charged with DUI. Let my years of training and experience work for you.
The initial consultation is free at the Wagner Law Firm in Martinsburg. Phone 304-901-7400 or online at westvirginiaduilawyers.com. All right, we welcome you back into Miller Time with you until 6:45 when we're off to Washington Wizards basketball against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's keep talking some Washington sports, but first...
Do you want to make the announcement that you keep forgetting about?
Do you have an announcement to make?
Anybody listening in Jefferson County who has kids that go to Jefferson County Public Schools,
yeah,
don't send them to the bus stop tomorrow. There won't be a bus coming because there's no school.
No?
No. They had decided to close all of the Jefferson County Public Schools tomorrow due to the expected inclement weather.
There you go.
We got that word about 6 o'clock.
first school system in the area that we have heard from as we took the direct phone call in between our break for news and weather at the top of the hour. Checking the website right now for Berkeley County schools, and nothing at this moment in time. If we get that information before we go off the air, we will let you know. Otherwise, keep an eye on our Facebook page.
So does that mean no, I don't know. How does it work in West Virginia? If there's no school, does that mean no after-school activities?
Typically, that is exactly what it means. Now, I asked Coach David Walker this very thing earlier today as I got over there to talk with him. You'll hear his comments leading into the Parkersburg quarterfinal round matchup. Saturday game time, Friday night's Miller time is when you'll hear it. And I asked him about how these things would work, and he said, of course, you can always ask for a special provision through the superintendent of schools. And so tomorrow, I doubt that anything's going to happen based on the weather forecast, because it's supposed to come in and last pretty much throughout the day, and conditions may even be getting worse throughout the day. But when it comes to, say, Friday, even though, well, let's see, maybe there's no school Friday because of the conditions that occur on Thursday, yet it's supposed to be 45 degrees, and we're supposed to get some sunshine even on Friday. So, maybe by the time the end of the day is occurring, look, conditions are going to be fine. Can we hold a practice? And then that would be something that would be, at that point, up to the administration, superintendent of schools, and so forth to grant that opportunity to still be able to have that workout. And or, of course, the game with Musselman playing Ripley that would take place on Friday night.
Again, that game will be at Spring Mills.
Yes.
Have we mentioned that?
Once or twice, but it's always...
Just wanted to make sure.
Always good to keep that out there.
Yeah.
All right, back to our Washington, D.C. sports. We had a Miller Time commentary this morning that kind of caught Rob's attention. He mentioned it to me during our morning Miller Time.
It's pretty impressive to catch him off guard or get his attention that early in the morning.
What was the stat line that you used that caught him off guard as we talked this morning?
I believe it's that the Washington Redskins have yet to have a lead change through 9 games this year.
Ding, ding, ding. You are correct.
I think that was the only stat I gave out in that game, or in that commentary, so
that was
made it pretty easy.
Yeah.
It's an extraordinary stat. And we're not talking the team who scores first doesn't lose. We're talking if the Redskins score first and their 6 wins this year, they have never given up the lead throughout the entire game.
So they win.
They win. If they have let their opponents score first, they've lost every game and have never led through any part of those games. And again, we're not talking about the team who scores first just goes on to win. We're talking has never given up the lead.
Right.
Whether it's a field goal or a touchdown.
Yeah. Not like they took a 3-0 lead, fell behind 7-3,
and then battled back and went on for the win. Yeah.
Although that could have happened this past week if my Tampa Bay Buccaneers could get out of their own stinking way and actually get into the end zone.
Hey, that was an impressive interception by Josh Norman.
Or perhaps even make a field goal. I don't think they've had a decent kicker since Martin Gramatica. No, I can't say that. Matt Bryant was pretty good.
Didn't Matt Bryant tie the record for...
He did a nice job.
Or at least was flirting with the record for longest field goal.
So since Matt Bryant, let me go that way then. They just have struggled in so many areas, and it showed in a 16-3 loss. We had planned to get together and watch that game. It didn't work out. I had a family photo shoot, which turned out to be a ton of fun, and I got my first photo. I showed it to you during the break. Nice job.
Good-looking family.
Thank you. So, the rest of the family.
Except for that dude on the far left.
All right, let's jump into a few comments here as we head to the bottom part of the hour. Set this up as you pulled these from Jay Gruden and I believe his press conference.
Yeah, these are just, the first one is just Jay Gruden on how the team played and what they need to work on going forward against the Houston Texans this Sunday.
I think, again, we had 3 drives in the first half. One was at the 2-minute drill, which was a good drive to get 3 points. We had another drive, went down the field, got 3 points. We had a penalty that stopped that drive. Threw a screen pass on 3rd down and 20 just to make sure we ensured ourselves an opportunity to kick 3 points. And then we had 2 3-and-outs. I probably early in the game was a little probably conservative with the new line that we had, and their defensive line was pretty good. And then we kind of settled down a little bit in the second half, had some nice plays and some good drives. But for the most part, the defense they were on the field a lot. You know, they had great ball control. They were moving up and down the field. Fortunately, we got the 4 turnovers when we did to stop them from scoring points. Their kicker missed a couple field goals, but, you know, from an opportunity standpoint, offense didn't have many. We do have to improve.
Do you, with this, I mean, is there just the timing is going to come, do you think, or will you be able to sort of loosen things up a little bit with the offensive line the way it is? Do you think, you know, if you have more time with that, or is...
Hey, we'll see. We're playing another explosive defensive front this week in Houston, so you'll have to wait and see how we're doing from a health standpoint to make sure Morgan came out of the game okay. We took him out at the very end just from a precautionary thing. Ty went out of the game with an ankle but came back in, finished the game. We'll just see how those guys are Wednesday and Thursday, see how Jonathan improves, obviously, and then go from there.
There you go, Jay Gruden, his press conference from Monday as the Redskins come off the win against Tampa Bay that now has the Skins at 6-3. Is this the most lackluster 6-3 Redskins team you've ever watched?
Yes, it is. I can say that without a doubt. Yes, it is. And I've only seen 2 6-3 teams. So, no, actually, I've technically seen 3 in my lifetime. I remember, this is only the second one I remember. The last one was in 2008 in the Jim Zorn era, and we all know how that went.
I was going to say, what happened? Never mind. Go ahead.
Started 6-2, went 2-6, finished 8-8. A real mediocre Redskin team. I know you find that hard to believe, mediocrity, but no, I mean they did find a way to win, and Adrian Peterson did not run the ball for 90 or more yards, so that was nice to see. I think it was definitely Alex Smith's best game as a Redskin. I think even the loss against Atlanta the week before, I think the last 2 games have been his 2 most productive as a Redskin. So hopefully he's starting to feel things out a little bit more. Trey Quinn, we're going to get to see Trey Quinn for the first time in regular season action this week. So it should be an interesting week against the Texans team coming off a bye, but a team that had put it together going into their bye week.
Yeah, I was going to say, they've been playing some pretty good football. So a stiff test for the Redskins this Sunday. Catch the pregame beginning at 11 a.m.
News update. California Governor Jerry Brown took some federal officials to the site of the so-called Camp Fire in Northern California, which has destroyed 7,700 homes and killed 48 people.
This is so devastating that I don't really have the words to describe it. It looks like a war zone. It is.
Firefighters continue to battle the Woolsey fire in Southern California. At least 2 people have died. Search crews continue to sift through the ashes of destroyed buildings, looking for more victims. CBS's Chris Martinez in Agora Hills.
The cause of the Woolsey fire is still under investigation. In Northern California, about 24 victims of the Camp Fire are blaming a utility company for starting the blaze. Search groups are still looking for human remains in the rubble. The Camp Fire is now the state's deadliest and most destructive in history.
More than 200 people remain missing in the state's wildfires. CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
Now, with your local forecast, weatherman Bob Kukin.
Wintry weather on the way late tonight into Thursday for Berkeley, Jefferson, Morgan counties. And winter storm watch continues. We have got periods of snow, sleet, and freezing rain expected after sunrise. Lowest temperature in the upper 20s. High tomorrow only in the lower 30s. Snow will accumulate before mixing with sleet and freezing rain, continuing on through the evening time, tapering off in time for Friday. I'm Bob Kukin, Talk Radio WRNR.
Life is complicated, but your finances shouldn't have to be. At BCT, we simplify your financial life. Bank of Charlestown is a locally owned community bank with 7 conveniently located offices serving the eastern panhandle of West Virginia, Middleburg, Virginia, and their newest office in Hagerstown, Maryland. With over 140 years of experience, BCT is the tri-state area's choice for fast, convenient, and hassle-free banking solutions. Whether you are a high school senior looking for a student checking account, a college graduate purchasing a new car, a first-time home buyer, or investing for retirement, BCT has flexible solutions to fit your lifestyle. BCT is committed to providing everyday ways to simplify your financial life. Also, make sure you are following BCT on Twitter and Instagram at MyBCT or like their Facebook page to see how BCT reinvests local deposits back into the communities they serve. BCT, we simplify your financial life.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When you or a loved one needs medical attention, but the thought of spending several hours in a waiting room makes you feel even worse, did you know at WVU Medicine Urgent Care Centers you can get in line before you leave the house? WVU Urgent Care's online scheduling allows you to wait more comfortably at home or wherever is convenient. Simply visit our website at uhpurgentcare.com and select an arrival time. WVU Medicine Urgent Care with 3 convenient locations in Charlestown, Inwood, and now open in Spring Mills.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
Wednesday by the Bay. I'm Jeff Biggs, and with a big rift right now between Kevin Durant and Draymond Green, the Warriors are actually going to get together today to travel to Houston. No practice or no media availability, but KD and Draymond will be on the plane together. On the court tonight, Jimmy Butler is set to make his Sixers debut in Orlando. The Celtics, who are now 7-6, are back home to host the Bulls, and the Raptors will try to bounce back from their second loss as they play the Pistons. In the NHL today, a trade with the Pens sending Carl Hagelin to the LA Kings in exchange for Tanner Pearson. On the ice tonight, another doubleheader on NBCSN. First up, the Blackhawks will play the Blues, followed by the Vegas Golden Knights hosting the Ducks. And in baseball, the Cy Young Awards will be handed out tonight. I'm Jeff Biggs, NBC Sports Radio.
Is your business experiencing a significant increase in administrative cost? If so, you may benefit from an operational analysis to determine whether greater efficiencies can be implemented and if outsourcing might be an avenue for improving performance and lowering your administrative cost. We are offering outsourcing for payroll, accounts payable, medical billing, and even controller operations at a fraction of the price you would pay a full-time person for these positions. Call us today at 304-263-0891. Cox Holiday and Professionals, your future, our passion.
At Valley College, we know that going to school is about more than a diploma. It's about training to get a career you love. Get the skills you need to get ahead in a flexible format, on campus or online, that fits your lifestyle, with programs designed to meet the needs of today's employers. And you'll never feel like a number at Valley College, because we provide the level of attention you need for success. Valley College. Call now or reach us at learn@valley.com.
We welcome you back into Miller Time, our final segment of Miller Time for this evening, as we're going to lead you pretty much right up to the start of the Wizards game. We do have one more break to take, and that'll be the kind of lead-in to the Wizards. What we have to do right now is get into our pick'ems. We bring up our NFL films, music. Yesterday, we were supposed to look at the results from this past weekend, but
we didn't.
Well, we had a special guest. When Shepherd Rams head football coach Ernie McCook comes to the house, you treat him like a guest, and you do what you're supposed to do and enjoy a good conversation.
Glad we were able to check something off his bucket list.
There you
Apparently
go.
being live on radio or in a studio was on his bucket list. So.
We will have to make that more of a habit, maybe.
We will. Always
in
a
the
good time
coming season.
talking with Coach McCook.
All right, so we look back to last week where we tied. Each of us went 7 wins and 5 losses. I went 4-2 on the NFL side, 3-3 on the college side. You went the opposite, 3-3 on the NFL side, but 4-2 on the college side. So right now the standings are this. Matt Crawford, 78 wins, 47 setbacks. Matt Miller, 73 wins, 52 setbacks. So it remains a 5-game differential as we are getting later into this season. So that leads us to this week's pick'ems.
You want to start in the NFL or college? We flipped last week, and we started in the NFL.
And neither of us did very well. So let's go back to the routine.
college.
Yeah, let's do this.
We gained a game this week because we don't have to pick Shepherd. So we gained a real pick'em game.
Yeah, a totally different pick'em game than what we might normally have. So let's start with number 9, WVU at Oklahoma State. We've got to start there. A game you will hear right here at 3:30 following Martinsburg High School playoff football.
Mountaineers.
I'm with you. WVU all the way. I think they get this victory as they look to make that push towards the Oklahoma game the day after Thanksgiving, or the night after Thanksgiving. Looking forward to that one. Marshall at home against the University of Texas San Antonio.
I think I'm going to go with the Thundering Herd in this one just because I know nothing about UTSA.
All right, we're both going with the Thundering Herd. Number 10, Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Visits Maryland.
Ohio State. I say that wearing my Maryland polo, by the way. So,
all right, we both take Ohio State.
That's not even going to be. I mean, if it's under a 30-point game, that's a victory for the Terps.
Wisconsin at Purdue.
Wisconsin at Purdue. What's Wisconsin ranked?
They, I don't think either team is ranked.
I thought
right
Wisconsin was flirting in the low 20 or in the low 20s.
No.
All right, neither team's ranked. I'm gonna go with Purdue.
Are you?
Yeah, I'll go with the Boilermakers.
All right. So I'm going with Wisconsin. So here's my opportunity to pick up a game. All right, here's a ranked matchup. Number 16, Iowa State at number 15, Texas. You talk about a pick'em game right now.
Yeah, because, both teams have been able to put up a lot of numbers offensively. And both teams have had moments where they've not looked real well. Or real good. I guess real well wouldn't make sense there. Goodly English there, Crawford. I'll take the Cyclones.
You going with Iowa State?
Yeah.
That's a tough call. I'm taking Texas only because they're at home. And I think that will be the advantage that gets them over an Iowa State team in a pick'em game. Finally, Syracuse against Notre Dame. Notre Dame's ranked number 3. Syracuse is all the way up to number 12. And this game is being played in the backyard of Syracuse, so to speak.
Not really.
It's at Yankee Stadium.
They're like 6 hours apart from one another.
Yeah, but it's closer than Notre Dame.
Maybe. I think those are the 2 furthest points you can get in New York State. I'm going to go with Notre Dame. I like the year Syracuse is having is pretty impressive. I just don't think they're quite up to the Fighting Irish level yet.
I'm taking Syracuse in the upset.
Just because you want to be different and try to make up games, or you honestly think?
At some point, Notre Dame's going to fall. They always seem to have that game in recent memory that gets away from them. And outside of Yankee Stadium,
Notre Dame team, though.
It is. New environment,
but look at Syracuse plays in a dome.
So?
You're talking about an outdoor environment. Who's that going to favor? A cold weather game? Who's that going to favor? A team that plays outside usually in South Bend? Or a team that plays in the Carrier Dome?
It doesn't matter where they play. Those kids live in that weather.
But they don't play or practice in that weather. I took Notre Dame anyway, but...
Take Syracuse.
All right.
All right, let's go to the NFL. Texans, Skins. This is a tough one.
I'll go with the Skins.
All right, I'm going Texans. I don't think the Skins get this one at home. The Texans, although it's kind of hard anymore. Does a team come off the bye week fresh, rested, ready to go?
Half the time you see them have their worst game of the year.
And that's why I'm
they're getting back up to game speed.
They were playing well.
And then it stopped.
So, but I still think the Texans end up getting this. When the Skins are so banged up, I think this is where it finally hits them.
I'll be there screaming, so.
Pittsburgh at Jacksonville.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They keep rolling.
Yeah, the Jags are struggling. No doubt about that. All right, Philadelphia at New Orleans.
Saints.
Yeah. You and I are agreeing there. Cincinnati at Baltimore. We need Caleb Falero here to set us straight.
The Ravens aren't playing well, but not. It's so hard to pick Marvin Lewis to do anything. I'll go with Cincy.
Cincy?
Yeah.
All right. I got the Ravens in this one. Home field advantage. Minnesota at Chicago. Who'd have thought this was going to be the type of game that it will be?
Trubisky.
There you go.
Against Captain Kirk. It's in Chicago.
In Chicago.
And Cousins has played well in Chicago over the years. I'll go with the Vikings.
Ah, wow. I'm going with the Bears.
The Bears.
Yeah, I'm looking at this one to be somewhat of an upset as well. Chiefs-Rams in L.A. now that's apparently
Mexico City's not happening. No. I'll go with the Rams.
All right. I'm taking the Chiefs in this one, so we do have an opportunity for you to either pull away a little more or me to gain some ground. That's going to do it. We've got to wrap it up because I got to get in a commercial break before we head off to Washington Wizards basketball. That's going to do it for today's Miller Time.